Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Welcome to the online class, children. Class 9, Civics, Chapter 2. What is democracy? Why democracy? In the last session, we have learnt about the arguments that favors of democracy. In today's class, we are going to see the topics, arguments against democracy and broader meaning of democracy. Arguments against democracy. So we have 6 points under this topic. Okay. So the first one, the leader keeps changing in democracy. That leads to instability. Okay. Listen. So leaders keep changing in democracy. That leads to instability. Of course, at a regular interval, we hold election so that the leader keeps on change in a democracy form of government. So it's lead to instability. Okay. So how the previous government might have planned some major steps or a project to be initiative, but it may not liked by the party who comes to power in the next election. So the leaders keep on change at a periodical wise. So what happens? It leads to instability of the government. Okay. So the second point, it's all about the political competition and power play. Yes, of course. We have multiple party system in India. The different people are participating. So the people, the different political party, they competing in election to get power in their hands. Okay. They are not bothered about the people issues. So they want to be in a power. They want to get the power in their hands. So it is all about the political competition. Okay. And the leaders know we can't able to find a true leader in a democracy. All the political parties are competing and somehow they want to capture the power in their hands. So it is all power play only. Okay. And the next one, the many people have to be consulted in democracy. That leads to delay. So of course, we saw in the previous slide, a previous session that uh, the democracy enhance the quality of decision making because lot of people needs to uh, consult it, and all the people to heads together, they have to create a law. So all the people are need to form in a place and then discussed, and after the lot of deliberations only they are bringing out a good decision. So we saw in the previous slide that the democracy enhance and it provides a good quality of decision making. But here, as I told, many people have to consult in a democracy. If suppose a law need to be passed in a parliament, many people have to be discussed about the law so that it leads to delay. For that we can witness the women's reservation bill not yet passed in the parliament still now. Okay, so many people have to be consulted in democracy. That leads to delay. Yeah. So the next one, the leaders do not know the best interest of the people. The leaders do not know the best interest of the people, so it leads to bad decision. So actually the people who got elected by the people who got elected, they do not know what is the best interest, what is the wish of the people, what they want actually. So it leads to bad decision. The elected leaders may take a bad decision. They do not know what actually the people wants. So the elected leaders do not know the best interest of the people. So it leads to bad decision. Okay. And it is based on the electoral competition. So it is, leads to corruption. Of course, India, a lot of corruption is going on. Okay. So the democracy is all about the electoral competition only, and so it leads to a lot of corruption. If the people want to complete their work in a government office, they are just giving some amount of money to the officers to complete their work, to make their work done. So like that, everywhere the corruption is going on. So the democracy leads to corruption. Still, we didn't eliminate that. Okay, so the democracy is all about, it's based on the electoral competition, and so it leads to lot of corruption. And the next one, ordinary people do not know what is good for them, so they are unable to decide what is good and bad. So the ordinary people, they do not know what is good for them and what is bad for them. Okay, and so that they can't able to decide what is good and bad. So this is also happens in a democracy form of government. So listen, your children, uh, the arguments against democracy. So initially we saw about the leaders keep change in the democracy that leads to corruption. Sorry, that leads to instability. So the leaders keep on changing, that leads to instability. And the democracy is all about the political competition. The different political parties competing in election to get the power in their hands. So it is all about political competitions and power play. And then many people have to be consulted to make a law, to create, to pass a decision. So of course it leads to delay. And the elected leaders do not know the best interest of the people and what actually people wants, they do not know. So it leads to bad decision, and the democracy leads to corruption. And finally, the ordinary people do not know what is good and what is bad, so that they can't decide what is the good and the bad thing. And now we move on to the uh, end of the session. That is, we are going to see a last topic in our lesson, broader meaning of democracy. So under this topic, we are going to cover, we are going to see the different types of democracy and what is an ideal standard of democracy. Okay, so listen children. So a representative democracy is one in which the people elect their representatives to legislature. So what actually we follow? So our country is a representative democracy only. Okay. So we have two types of democracy, that is a direct democracy and a representative democracy. So India falls into the representative democracy only. So in which the people elect their representative to the legislative body. And this representatives, they will form the government and run the government. Okay. So this is what happens in the representative democracy. So people select their representative through the election only. And now, so we are going to look at the two types of democracy, direct democracy. So direct democracy, it means all the citizens of the country assemble in a place, assemble in a place and directly take part in the decision making. So in a direct democracy, all the citizens of the country, they gathered in a place and they will take part in the decision making of the country. For example, we can say the Switzerland. So it's fall into the direct democracy only. Okay. So all the citizens of the country, they will assemble in a place and they will directly participate in the decision making of the country. And now we move on to the next one, indirect democracy or the representative democracy. So just now we have seen representative democracy. So representative democracy means that the people of the country elect their representatives, and those elected, the elected representative may take part in the uh, major decisions in the country. And uh, just a minute. Yeah. So majority of people rules through their elected representatives. Okay. So listen here. So in a indirect democracy or a representative democracy, people elect their representative through the election. So the people who got elected, they'll form the government and run the government. So now we move on to the topic, why is representative democracy becomes necessary in the present world? Because most of the democracy in the modern world, most of the countries, they follow the representative democracy. So why this representative democracy becomes necessary? We are going to see. Because the modern democracies involve such a large number of people, and it is physically impossible for them to sit together and take a decision. Okay, so listen here children. In modern democracies, the large number of people, uh, that is physically impossible for them to sit together and take a major decision. So listen here, what is the first point? In modern democracy, it involves such a large number of people. So of course a large number of people can't able to sit together. Okay. And of course we don't have that much of time. Okay. So it is physically impossible for all the people to sit together and take decision for the country's welfare. And even if they could, the citizens do not have time. Just a minute children. Okay. Even if they could, the citizens do not have time and desire or the skill to take part in all the decisions. So we have to understand one thing children, why the representative democracy is adapted nowadays in most of the countries. Because the modern democracies involve such a large number of people sit together and take decision. But physically it is not possible for them to sit together and take part in the decision making. Even if they could, the citizen does not have time to sit together and take part in the decision making. And in the modern world, in the technical world, nowadays even in the family members can't able to sit and have a talk. Okay, so this is how the mechanical world is going on. So within the family itself, the people can't able to sit together. So how can it possible for a country, all the people to sit in one place and take a decision? It is not impossible. It is not possible at all. And now we are going to analyze what is an ideal standard of democracy. What is an ideal standard of democracy? A true democracy will come to the country only when no one goes to bed with hungry. Okay. So listen here children, the true democracy will come to a country when when no one goes hungry to the bed. Okay, that is what about the ideal standard of democracy, and that is what lot of the countries are aim to achieve this thing. Okay, and then in a true democracy, every citizen must be able to play an equal role in decision making with equal right to vote, equal information and basic education and equal resources and lot of commitments. So, in a true democracy, every citizen must be able to play an equal role in decision making, in getting equal rights to vote and equal information and basic education and all these things. Okay. So that's all children, we just completed our topic. So listen here, so we have to understand one thing in a democracy. What is the broader meaning of democracy? Uh, we have to analyze the modern democracies are need a large number of people to sit together and take decision, but it is physically impossible for them to sit together. Okay, and we have to analyze the ideal standard of democracy. And most of the countries in the modern world, they also try to achieve this aim. So what is that? Nobody should go to bed with hungry, and everybody should get equal right, equal opportunities, and equal voting right, and equal information, and some basic educations. So this is what the modern democracies in all the countries want to achieve. Okay, and it of course in the hands of the people. Okay, so we have to strengthen the democracy. Okay, we have to save and strengthen the modern democracy. So it is all in the hands of the citizens only. And now take down the assignment, children. Give arguments against democracy. Second thing, give examples to prove that the democracy goes beyond the meaning of the government. And what according to you is the broader meaning of democracy. Okay. So here in the second one, the democracy goes beyond to the meaning of the government. It means the democracy is a word, it not only used for the government, it can be applied everywhere, in a classroom, in a family, everywhere. Okay, so give example to prove that democracy goes beyond the meaning of the government. Thank you, children.